fuir. C'est ma forêt.
We are talking Schlitter, Evil in the Woods. I have to admit, when I first saw this movie, I thought it might be pronounced Schlitter, which would be a completely different movie. And I'm probably going to butcher this name again, but this is directed by Pierre Mouchet. And it's kind of like a Don't Breathe style horror thriller movie where we have a group of individuals against a hardened older man. Now, the story initially focuses on these two 8-year-old kids, the best of friends, and one of them is accidentally killed by the father of the other one, as he's not paying attention whilst driving. And the father that has killed this young boy covers it up. And cut to 20 years later, the now adult surviving boy, called Lucas, is told that his family have been killed in a fire. So he goes to his parental home, and there he sees the father of his deceased best friend, who now appears to be in a wheelchair. And he invites this Lucas in, who's got a couple of friends with him, and it appears that this old man may well be up to no good and wanting revenge for what happened to his son 20 years ago. What will happen? You will have to watch the movie and find out. So let's talk about it. So this is a French movie, hence why I'm struggling with the pronunciations of the names there. So apologies if I've got them wrong. But I gotta say, it's a pretty strong thriller with some quite brutal and violent scenes at times. The initial inciting incident where we see this kind of kid get killed basically by the father of the other one is, emotionally quite upsetting, because, you kind of think, nice little 8-year-old boy, completely innocent, and the way that kind of the father ultimately is quite callous about it. But then we kind of go into the story, the 20 years later section, and it gets pretty brutal. There's not tons of kind of death on screen, but when we do see it, it's pretty up there in regards to levels of brutality. And I think those people who enjoy like an impressive on-screen kill, then I think you may be kind of satisfied with a couple of the kills on this one. So this old man, his whole thing, he's been ultimately preparing for this for years now, trying to find out a way to get revenge on the family that he considered killed his son, and ultimately led to his wife's death as well. So he has just got revenge on his mind, and he's this guy who's kind of built all these kind of traps and things like this, very meticulous in his kind of planning, and it's a pretty taut thriller, I have to say. So it's a good sense of tension, a good sense of dread. It's a French language movie, but I've got to say, the acting all seems pretty good to me. It's very well shot. It's never like you can't really see anything. You get a good sense of kind of the isolation and stuff like that. A lot of the characters seemed all pretty well fleshed out. Like the guy who plays Lucas, who is our main guy, the surviving friend, now an adult. You do get this sense of guilt, that even though he wasn't responsible, the fact that he has kind of carried the burden of that tragic event with him and not sort of said anything about it all those years, you can see it kind of weighs on him. And even subtly the way he doesn't want to have children, for example, because he doesn't want that responsibility and things like that, I thought was done pretty well. And then we get to the kind of the cat and mouse stuff. It's pretty good. You're thinking this guy knows the woods. He's kind of got all these kind of traps set up, and he's kept himself in pretty good shape for an older man. They make a point of saying how kind of strong he is for obviously someone in his advanced age. So it was all, a fairly kind of well put together film on those levels. The only thing really I would say is that the script is one of these things where people just make dumb decision after dumb decision. I mean, this movie could have ended a lot sooner had people made more pragmatic decisions. It's cool, and multiple times in the movie, it kind of feels like, you know, you had an opportunity to kind of end this earlier, but you chose not to. Really, for the only reason is the film wants to kind of continue. So yeah, the movie is plagued a little bit with kind of like, you know, decisions here that just seem to be a little bit like not realistic. And ultimately, the premise of the movie, the response that this old man is doing seems certainly, you know, somewhat over response, shall we say? Certainly considering who's involved, and it gets a little bit, I have to say, beyond believability at times, and I think maybe what this movie should have done was establish that the father of this boy maybe was a little unstable to start with, hence why it's such a big overreaction. But it doesn't really do that. Nonetheless, it's a kind of a pretty decent kind of thriller. It is similar to the movies like, kind of, as I say, that I've mentioned there, Don't Breathe, and kind of revenge thrillers to a certain degree. So it's maybe not particularly kind of original necessarily, but it's certainly a very kind of well put together movie that's quite kind of tense and, you know, and gripping. So I want to give this one a 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Please leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.